What is going on, Neon Nation? And holy smokes, we have some absolutely banger news coming out from CD Projekt Red, including a new collaboration for a live-action Cyberpunk project. Patch 2.0 full details now that it's been released, some insight into Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty sales and the future of the Cyberpunk IP, including the sequel Orion from an investor's call, and a lot more, so let's get into it. First up, we have to get into the most exciting news from CDPR via their latest investors call, where they went through how the studio adapted to a new workflow after the release of the base game of Cyberpunk 2077. The real interesting bits come in the form of two separate Q&As, one with the devs and the other with the studio heads and management. So let's jump straight to those. When it comes to the future of CDPR games, a question was asked about handcrafted content versus generative content, to which lead quest designer Pavo Sasko responded by saying that CDPR is going to explore what sorts of technological paths Unreal and other tools open, but that the plot, the quests, and the characters are developed by designers who put an effort to create and handcraft this content. If tools enable this, then they'll use them, but if they don't, they won't. Their goal is still to output the best games on the market, and it's very apparent that CDPR believes that tools should only enhance this process. When it comes to the Cyberpunk sequel, Orion, this project will be leveraging many of the devs who worked on Patch 2.0 and Phantom Liberty, including Pavo Sasko, but also narrative director Igor Stajinsky, and other core team members who worked on 2077. The studio is in the organization and recruitment stage at the moment, and as we all know, this will be created in a separate studio set up in Boston, and utilizing an existing studio in Vancouver that was formerly known as Digital Scapes. A question about regrets for not including third person was asked, to which CDPR mentioned that they have no regrets. Sasko mentions the scene system and talks about the identity of the game and how FPP helped develop this identity. They wanted to try something new, not just copy and paste The Witcher in the dark future. For Orion, it remains to be seen if this changes, and things are left a bit more open-ended, but I'm personally glad that they dug their heels in with the FPP system to really emphasize the human connections and the vertical scale of Night City and Dogtown. Okay, let's move on to the second Q&A with the management board because this is where it gets really exciting. Some milestones were recapped, including big patches like 1.5 and 1.6, and the effect these had on people giving the game a try. And it's also mentioned that Cyberpunk 2077 has now sold 25 million copies since launch, a feat that's been reached far faster than The Witcher 3 achieved in the same time frame. Phantom Liberty's first week of sales was 3 million units, and although a massive chunk was on PC, it's also nice to see GOG take a sizable chunk of the sales, with all the profits here going to CD Projekt Group. Adam Badowski took to the stage later to mention that PL was developed with a new methodology in mind, and they were more aware of the state of the game at each stage, with the game being fully playable months and months before the premiere. This also gave them more time for the localization efforts, with the 19 languages available at the moment, and this included higher quality translations. When talking about the move to Unreal Engine, Badowski mentions that they're working with Epic engineers to adjust the engine to meet their needs. And because CDPR has leveled up their technical prowess with Red Engine, they're helping shape the future of Unreal. Unreal has solutions that would have taken Reds years to develop on their own engine, so I genuinely can't imagine what these devs are going to be doing with so much more focus on other aspects of development. There's so much more time to play with here. Orion is a full sequel. In addition to the Boston and Vancouver studios in late 2024, they will also be working with teams across US and Poland. They did mention an increased reliance on contractors a bit earlier, so I do believe that this is what they meant by this, but historically CDPR has struggled with contractors, so I do hope that these are properly vetted and that luck is just on their side for this one. QA at launch and most recently localization has been a sore spot, and that's largely due to the contractors chosen. Now, what I really loved here is CDPR's stance on becoming known as a studio that drives pop culture. Video games will still be at the core of this, but music, books, games, films are what they're looking into continuing and maximizing with the Cyberpunk franchise, and between Edgerunners winning a variety of accolades, the most recent release of No Coincidence, Cyberpunk 2077's first novel, and Big City Dreams, a cyberpunk comic book that's won a Hugo Award, CDPR is off to a red-hot start here. Moving on to what I'm personally most excited about, and that is the new partnership between CD Projekt Red and Anonymous Content to develop a live-action project, likely a movie or a TV series. Anonymous is well known for producing series like Mr. Robot, True Detective, and has worked on films like The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and The Revenant. As part of the collaboration, CD Projekt Red is working directly with the studio's head of television, Garrett Kemble, director of development, Ryan Schwartz, and chief creative officer, David Levine, an industry veteran who was previously HBO's EVP and co-head of drama for over 10 years, where he oversaw production of series like True Detective, Westworld, and True Blood. He was also involved in the production of the early seasons of Game of Thrones. The new project is at a very early development stage, and has currently commenced searching for a screenwriter to tell a brand new story set in the world of Cyberpunk 2077. Garrett Campbell, David Levine, Ryan Schwartz, and Bard Doros will produce on behalf of Anonymous Content, alongside Charlie Scully. Anonymous Content's AC Studio will serve as the studio on the project, and the project will be developed in close collaboration with the Cyberpunk 2077 creative team. So yeah, this is absolutely huge news, and the fact that Anonymous is working closely with the 2077 creative team feels like this will bode well, as it worked amazingly for CDPR when working with Trigger for Edgerunners. So far, CDPR has just been looking over scripts right now. Based on the team that's been assembled so far, it does look like it would be a series versus a feature film, but again, we'll have to wait and see. As the investors call went on, we also learned that CDPR has sold 100 million copies of their games, from The Witcher 1 all the way to Phantom Liberty, an absolutely massive achievement. It also does seem like a Game of the Year or a complete edition of Cyberpunk 2077 will be coming in the future. The call does also dive into how the team worked on patch 2.0 and Phantom Liberty in tandem, and they explain some of the basics of the game to the investors present, so if you do want to watch that, it's 3 hours, I will link it in the pinned comment, but it's definitely a good watch. Okay, let's jump into the patch 2.01 full notes, as this patch is now rolled out across all platforms and addresses some major issues and complaints people have. I touched on this in my last video, but now we do have the full patch notes. This patch also aims to improve overall performance on all platforms, and especially in Dogtown, which I've been seeing a lot of you guys mentioning. First, let's jump into the gameplay and platform specific fixes. So you'll now be able to switch to armed cyberware properly by cycling through weapons. And there was also an issue where V could become invulnerable to all damage, which has now been addressed. I've seen this one a lot, but now a wrecked and destroyed NCPD cruiser without wheels won't be able to be driven, which obviously made no sense and has been present for a while now. Obsolete mods in the inventory and stash can now be properly exchanged for a weapon mod, and an issue where weapons obtained pre-2.0 getting a higher tier compared to the player's level has also been fixed. Obsolete crafting specs have been removed, and disassembling a Slot-O-Matic, those vending machine pistols will now give you one crafting component. 3 big fixes here, and NCPD scanner hustles will now complete after looting necessary containers. Iconic weapons can now be stashed and will appear on V's weapon wall, and the attribute check to get the thermal katana has also been reduced. PC specific fixes include fixes to the keyboard and mouse UI, and players will now be able to get achievements to unlock on GOG and Steam, although Epic is still being investigated. We also have fixes to image quality using DLSS ray reconstruction in the ultra performance setting. Console specific fixes include a fix for the corrupted saves on PlayStation by increasing the maximum save file size limit, although this won't fix saves corrupted before the update. Crash fixes have been deployed for PC and console. Vehicle radio volume being too quiet is now readjusted, alongside an issue where you could earn an infinite score in Trauma Drama with an exploit. Another big one here that I've seen is the Quadrasport R7 pre-order vehicle not unlocking for those who pre-ordered, so now you should get that call from El Capitan. Phantom Liberty support has now been also added to Red Mod. For Phantom Liberty specific fixes, we have a gig called Balls to the Wall. One of my favorites, receiving a fix where when talking to Paco, repeating the blue dialogue option for the Corporal life path would block progress, as well as an issue right out of the gate where it was possible to earn multiple relic points by triggering repeated first missions with Songbird. Spoiler warning for the next one, but Firestarter is getting a fix where V could get stuck after performing a finisher on Kurt Hansen. I didn't experience this one personally, but yeah, Hansen did have the tendency to clip to the ground, so I'm hoping that's been pulled in there as well. Moving Heat is getting a fix that includes the traffic populating after completing the quest, and an issue to the quest flow when triggering the combat in the garage in specific scenarios. I saw this one funnily enough just yesterday, but in New Person Same Old Mistakes, we have a fix to Bill's hot dog stand, which was closed in some instances. Somewhat damaged fixes include now being able to scan the neural network system, and fixes for some of the devices in the bunker. The Killing Moon is one of my favorite quests, and there was some issues with not being able to open the shuttle doors, which has also been fixed. In You Know My Name, there was an issue where V could remain connected to the sniper nest, and that would block progress, and Reed will now also wear his party outfit during the dialogue with Songbird. In terms of general Phantom Liberty fixes, there was a phone call delay issue for the main story that was fixed, alongside fixes for animations, lighting, scenes, VFX, and performance improvements in the new district. In terms of the base game and open world, yes, Automatic Love has received a fix, where the distortion effect from talking to Johnny and selecting a specific dialogue option will now actually go away, and in Ghost Town you can no longer get stuck on the quest objective of defeating Nash and his people. There are some various other gigs getting fixed, including Breaking News, Going Away Party, Lord Giveth and Taketh Away, Playing for Time, and Space Oddity. The heist had issues where Jackie wouldn't be in front of the afterlife to start the quest, and an issue with V falling through the elevator going up to the 42nd floor of Konpeki Plaza due to low FPS has also been patched out. So guys, these are just the highlights, but I'd love to know your experience with 2.01. And if you guys are seeing some of these issues being resolved on your end, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your feedback. As always, I really appreciate you guys checking out this video. This is the first upload since hitting 100K, so thank you guys so much for the support over the years. And yeah, we're just gonna keep trucking, so I'll catch you guys in the next video.